Matt Walsh really hates it when black people get welfare. There's just no way to sugarcoat that fact. He just hates it. Now, a lot of people hate it, but he really hates it. Let's check out a little bit of a Matt Walsh rage here. Have a little entertainment for ourselves, shall we?
Taxpayer-funded guaranteed income programs that hand struggling families up to $36,000 with no strings attached are being rolled out across the country, according to the Daily Mail. The schemes, whose total value exceeds $125 million, have surged in popularity since the pandemic as progressive leaders embrace cash handouts to support Americans below the poverty line.
All right, let's stop it right there. Now, can somebody point out the problem to me real quick? Yeah, I'm not really seeing the problem, but I guarantee you he's going to find one for us.
But the radical projects have been criticized after it emerged that one mother of three in Washington, D.C. spent more than half of a $10,800 lump sum payment on a luxury holiday to Miami, along with a new wardrobe for her children and a glow-up for herself.
A $10,000 vacation in Miami is not fucking luxury, okay? Just let's make that crystal clear.
Thea Miller, 27, spent $6,000 on the vacation for herself, her partner, and their three children.
Look at that. She spent $6,000 on a 5-person vacation. And this shit's gonna frame it as luxury? Yeah, it was luxury for her because she's poor and she's struggling, but make no mistake, that was not a luxury vacation. What the?
Purchased 15 new outfits for the children and spent $180 on a haircut.
15 outfits for the children. That's 5 apiece. She has 3 kids, 15 outfits. Man, that is some splurge city over there. I honestly think she probably should have stopped at 2 outfits per child. Hard limit it at 10 outfits total. And for the haircut, I mean, 180 seems a little bit high. She probably should have banked that off at least under 100 so that we don't judge her, obviously, right?
She was given the money through the first project in the country to offer money as a lump sum rather than monthly payments.
Yeah, the lump sum bit is hilarious to me because the idea is that the only way you can convince hogs to actually give money to people that need it would be to trickle it down to them morsel by morsel to make sure they're not abusing it on things like clothing for their children. But apparently somebody decided to do a lump sum here. Pretty cool. You actually allow the people to have a bit of dignity. Fascinating stuff.
Similar programs in cities from Los Angeles to New York offer payments of up to $1,000 per month for 3 years with no conditions on how the cash is spent.
Yeah, and this is really what bothers the right, if you will. You're basically giving cash to people that they don't like and telling them they can spend it how they want. That's not going to fly. The right in America doesn't want welfare at all being given out, but any welfare that does get given out needs to be strictly monitored so that black people are not allowed to have haircuts. I mean, that's essentially what this is.
Ongoing projects will deliver more than $125 million to nearly 10,000 Americans nationwide across more than 30 programs. And again, these are all, so we know that there are plenty of welfare programs out there, but these are no strings attached, cash payments.
Yeah, that's messed up. The idea of giving people money to spend as they see fit is messed up. Wait a second, didn't we get something, what was it? Oh, during COVID, we all got checks, right? And we could spend them however we wanted because we had financial hardship as a result of the ongoing effects of COVID and the pandemic and everything else. It's almost like there was a Republican in charge then and it was okay. But the idea that people struggling, families struggling, get money, that's a bridge too far. Why? Well, you don't really have to look too much further than the color of this man's skin and the things that come out of his mouth.
Where we're just given the cash and saying, do whatever you want with it. And obviously, it's a terrible idea. Well,
tell me why, Matt. Why is it terrible? Tell me.
It's terrible if your goal is to actually lift people out of poverty and to make the country a better and more prosperous place.
Okay, right. So giving people that are in poverty money is obviously terrible for lifting people out of poverty. Okay, let them cook, let them cook.
And so on. If that's your goal, then this is the worst possible thing you could do in pursuit of that goal. But
why? Tell me why. Why is that?
If your goal is to demoralize the population and
wait, you're not going to tell me why this is the worst idea? Literally giving people in poverty money to lift people in poverty out of money? That's the worst idea. Why, Matt Walsh? Oh, you're going to skip ahead? Okay.
Make people even more helpless and dependent and vulnerable and utterly incapable of caring for themselves than they already are.
Oh, the idea of giving people money and welfare makes them more vulnerable. Interesting. So if you have somebody on the side of the road living in a cardboard box, that person's pretty vulnerable. But if you give him $50, he's more vulnerable because he doesn't know how to spend that money. And he's not going to want to work now because he just gets free money. It's just shocking, just the threads that these people pull at.
Then this is a fantastic way of achieving that objective. And as we know, for the politicians who come up with these schemes, their goal is very much the latter. And there are two basic reasons why this sort of idea is terrible. Terrible.
Okay, he's going to cook. I want to know why it's terrible for lifting people out of poverty, specifically.
Again, if you care about the future of the country and you want to make people's lives better. The first is that obviously giving someone a $10,000 check with no strings attached, it is only going to help them in the long term if they have a lot of discipline.
So how can you rationalize the money given out during COVID then? That was non-discriminatory payment to every American, right? Was there some check there that we needed to spend it the right way? No, you give people the money that need it, and however they spend it is the right way. Trying to police what people do with their money in an exploitative system such as Western capitalism, American capitalism specifically, is, wait for it, a form of, wait for it, oppression.
If they budget smartly and if they save or invest a large portion of the check while using the rest on essential items that they...
Look, he has to like actually spend the money for you. It's like, why didn't you do this during COVID? Why is it that you feel entitled to take money that the country has pulled together and then decided to give to people that need it? Why do you feel entitled to pick that apart and to kind of make it into a menu, into something that is more palatable to you? Why are you relevant? Fucking goober.
Need for themselves or their children. So, something like this could be a big help to somebody if they take it and they go, okay, well, so I got $10,000 lump sum from the taxpayers. Thank you very much. I'm going to take $8,000 and I'm going to save it right away. I'm going to put that away. I'm going to save it. And then I'm going to use $1,000 and I'm going to buy a whole bunch of non-perishable food items. Okay, so I'll build like a stockpile of food, so we have extra food, and then I'm gonna take the rest and I'm gonna pay off some overdue bills, maybe credit
card. All right, hold on. I was gonna actually let him finish, but the way he just said that makes me want to just jump in here now. So here we're just spinning up hypotheticals, right? He's saying, okay, you should take the money and you should, get rid of you should knock out the essentials like food or whatever. Okay, fair enough. But let's spin up another hypothetical here. What if you are one of the millions upon millions upon millions of Americans with significant medical debt, right? Poor people have medical debt too. What if you are, for example, I don't know, say you owe like $9,000 to a hospital for something that happened and you get paid $10,000. Paying back that $9,000 means you no longer have interest on your debt, and you basically are able to, your income streams are able to go to you instead of to somebody else. What planet does Matt Walsh live on to where the only possible person out there receiving welfare is somebody who somehow has all of their needs met, but also requires the money? It's like, no, the people that are receiving this need it. And we're going to talk more about the idea of spending it on a vacation versus something else a little bit later in this video, I'm sure. But make no mistake, this hypothetical he's describing, where you're perfectly sitting at zero as someone in poverty, like $0 net worth, is just not true. Like that $10,000 could be spent 1,000 ways for almost all poor families in this country, and none of them would be wrong. It's like there's a lot of things you got to spend on, man. The idea that you would put $8,000, if you were broke, Matt Walsh, and someone gave you $10,000, the idea that you would put away $8,000 into savings, buy $1,000 worth of canned soup, and then work off the rest of the $1,000 is ludicrous. It's ludicrous. It would not happen. I know for a fact your bitch ass would go out and immediately spend that shit on some absolutely stupid, like, I don't even know what you're into, bro. Like little baby dolls, or I don't even know. I don't even want to know. Firewood back there. You would spend it on something stupid because you're a stupid man. But the idea is that I don't get to control what you spend it on. I don't care if you buy baby dolls, bro. You deserve the money because society has let you down in this case, in this hypothetical. You don't seem to have that level of empathy, do you? Curious.
Let's say people do something like that. Well, if that's how it's spent, then in that individual case, we could say that the money has really helped that person. And they're now in a better long-term spot today than they were before the money was given to them.
And he's talking about paying off debt there. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. But it's more than that. It's like you're basically just saying like, oh, it'd be rare for someone to be in debt and to be in poverty and to get a bunch of money. I mean, sure, man, sure. Live your life.
Problem is that not everyone is going to use the money that way. In fact, it's highly unlikely that even a majority will use it that way. And I find it hard to believe that a significant minority will use it that way. Like if you give $10,000 to 10,000 of the lowest earning people in any given area, I would be shocked if even 1,000 of them were to use the money that way.
But here's the question, Matt Walsh. Why might that be? Could it be because people have more complex needs than a bunch of canned soup? And the idea that some of these luxuries that you like to lampoon these people engaging with are not actually luxuries at all. And they're actually like a base level of living, a base level of dignity that you won't prescribe for these people. Almost.
In a way that's like planning for the future, in a way where we're not just blowing it all right off the bat. I'd be shocked if 1,000 did. And by the way, this has nothing to do with the fact that they're poor. If you gave $10,000 in, quote, free money to 10,000 people, regardless of their income level, if you just choose totally at random, and so you've got poor people and rich people and people in between, and you just give them all $10,000, say, here you go. You still are going to get only a very small minority who use the money in a smart way.
That is a shocking statement to hear out of this guy right now. Like, my whole thing is that people in poverty have needs that he's not acknowledging, but he's basically just saying, like, yeah, if you give people money, they'll spend it, regardless of socioeconomic status. Which, what the fuck's his argument then? What is he even trying to say anymore? He's basically like, yeah, you give people money, they'll spend it. Do you just not get... the argument is that he doesn't want welfare at all. I see. Okay. Well, that's depressing.
According to a wise long-term plan. And why is that? Well, because human nature is what it is. And we also happen to live in a consumerist culture where people are wired to spend money. In this economy, we're also required to spend money more than we want to. But regardless of the state of the economy, we're always looking for ways to spend what we have. And we're surrounded all the time by messaging. It's like everywhere you go, everything you look at, it's always buy this, buy that, buy this. So
he's so close to being reasonable with these last few statements. Like, these are statements that somebody could make that actually has a good take on this. Fascinating how he sometimes oscillates unintentionally into something halfway coherent.
It's constant. And so it takes just an extraordinary amount of self-discipline to not basically spend everything you have the moment you get it.
I want to just throw a hypothetical out there. Let's just say you have two people and they both weigh 300 pounds and they both want to weigh 150 pounds. One of them lives in poverty. The other one of them is a billionaire. Who do you think's gonna be a little bit more successful, just in general? So this is kind of a little bit relevant to this lie he's spinning now.
And most people don't have that kind of self-discipline, because that's just if self-discipline was like, if self-discipline was in, if we had a surplus of self-discipline in this culture, we'd live in a utopia.
Yeah, obviously a lot of right-leaning people conflate discipline, willpower, self-actualization, all that shit with quite literally the ability to afford that illusion. Make no mistake, if you pull the money out of the right-winger, well, they start singing a slightly different tune. Now, not everybody's educated enough to actually make that switch when they become working class, however, or become, in this case, since we're talking about ideologies, become more left-leaning. I mean, not everybody's cut out for it, I suppose, to understand their place in the world. But realistically, I mean, Matt Walsh, like, sheesh. Discipline is not something you're born with. It is something that has everything to do with your socioeconomic status. And so the idea that poor people have less discipline, yeah, buddy, that's obvious because it's hard to be poor.
So the point is, we act like, the woman who blows it on a vacation is an outlier or she's abusing the system or whatever, but she's actually not. That's what the system wants her to do. Take it, spend it, keep nothing, save nothing.
Yeah, so this is basically his whole thesis now, I understand. He's saying there's no way to give money to people because they'll spend it. All money must be earned, right? So he's not even going to focus on what she spent the money on. He's going to use that as a jumping point to say, this is what people do. And this is bad.
And have a nice couple of weeks and then revert right back to the state of dependency that you were in before the money was given to you. That's exactly what they want. That's how it is designed.
Why would somebody want, let me ask you this. Why would the shadowy cabals of the left want to just throw money at people and then have it be wasted? What possible motive could the big bad progressive Democrats, right? What motive could they have to take $125 million and to just give it to poor people and have those poor people spend it on things they don't need? What's the motive? What's the end game there? That's what you're implying, Matt Walsh.
Which is also, by the way, why they offer a lump sum payment in the first place. I mean, the whole idea is terrible, but if you're going to do it, why would you even have a lump sum option?
It's called giving people dignity and allowing them to allocate their own resources because we believe in them and we treat people with respect. That's what it is.
If somebody wants a lump sum payment, it's clear right away that they just want to have all that money and they want to spend it. And second, aside from how the money is spent, aside from the fact that almost everyone just blows through free money when you give it to them, the greater point is that, of course, the free money is not free money. It didn't fall out of the sky. It did not appear out of thin air.
And this is really what cooks his goose right here, is the fact that it's his money. It's white people's money going to black people. That is what really makes this man mad. That is why he just jumped through so many hoops to basically condemn all of welfare, is because he thinks that we're taking white people's money and we're giving it to black people, and that's not okay no matter how you do it. Now, what do you call that? I mean, we can call it white supremacy, but it's a bunch of things, quite frankly. Let's let him try to justify it, though, and we'll clap him up.
It was taken. It was taken from American families, and it was given to other people. And that is theft. And I don't care who does it.
It was taken from American families and given to other people. That is theft. That is what this man just said. So if you take taxpayer money, which everybody pays if you pay taxes, and then you give it to another American, what are you saying? It's Americans helping Americans. It's not Americans helping randos. I mean, we do that too. We do geopolitical stuff, but that's not what your argument is. Americans helping non-Americans? What are you saying? He means white people and black people. Oh, I get it. Okay, no, I understand what you're trying to say now, Matt Walsh. You just don't want black people to have any dignity. I don't know how else I can package this. This is what you're telling me right now.
I don't care what the supposed reason is for it. I wouldn't even care if the politicians who came up with these schemes were really driven by their deep desire to help the less fortunate. They're not. But I wouldn't care if they were, because you have no right to take this money. You have no right to take it and give it away like it's Wheel of Fortune.
Matt Walsh, my guy, I don't know what exactly you're thinking with this type of statement, but like, I thought I was familiar with your politics, but like, are you trying to tell me you're against all taxation? Or are you against the idea of allocating like capital between the classes? Or like, what exactly are you not okay with here? Because surely you don't mind roads, right? You understand taxation is important for nation building, but is it simply the idea that we're taking money from the bourgeois and the working class and allocating it to the most needy people? Like, what exactly is your fucking problem, dude?
Okay, there's just a difference between the taking tax money and, in theory, using it to build roads and that sort of thing, and using it for things that everybody, in theory, could benefit from. Like that's a legitimate form of taxation.
The idea that you're giving money and welfare to the poorest people in the country is something that everybody benefits from, Matt Walsh. Public health, mental health, crime, right? This is just the tip of the iceberg. How about the idea that when you help your neediest, it's actually helping the whole community, because anybody could become the neediest at any given time, because we live in a system where medical debt can wreck you even if you do everything right overnight, right? When you're helping the neediest people, it's a bit like an insurance plan. you don't need it until you need it. And if you need it, you better hope to God you supported and you pushed for it, right? This is the fallacy in your logic. And it's really easy to see. Now, go ahead. Tell me exactly what you think. But remember, I've already disputed it.
But taking money from an individual and just giving it to another individual,
that's actually that's not what's happening. Not at all. What's happening is we're taking taxpayer money, which everybody pays into, and we're giving it to a demographic, a socioeconomic demographic. We're giving it to people that need it the most because they literally can't afford to go through life with any dignity, despite us being the wealthiest nation, right? We're not taking it from Matt Walsh and giving it to, Susan. We're taking it from American tax-paying money, and we're allocating it based on metrics to people that need it. And it doesn't matter what happens after that. If they fucking spend it and go back on whatever, that's their prerogative as an American in this system, okay?
To the detriment of the one individual and the benefit of the other individual, doing that is theft. And I would say every form of that is theft. I don't know how else to look at it.
You know what's theft is the idea that I just sat here for fucking like 10, 15 minutes and I had to listen to your dumbass speak about something not only you don't understand, but you have a horrible take on, and you're just a bigoted piece of shit. Like that is what that really grinds my gears. Now, I'm happy to do it to you, Matt Walsh, but make no mistake, this whole idea that you have to pay like 1 penny per year to somebody in an inner city environment that really needs it, it's like, okay, I'm sorry you have to deal with that. I'm sorry that somebody taking a vacation, a 5-person vacation with their 3 children for $6,000 with welfare money. I am so sorry that you don't approve of that. But you know what, man? Your approval is not worth anything. You're not arguing in good faith. You have no desire to employ empathy here, and you quite frankly are pathetic. So those are my takes, Matt Walsh.